Greeting, greetings, Black family, and welcome to On the Wake Up Radio. I'm your host, DC Radical One, and you have entered the center. Shout out to our wonderful producer, Cindy Ashby. You can check us out on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and iHeartRadio at Wake Up Radio. Be completely honest, it's a low energy day today for me. So y'all let me know y'all get me. I'm not gonna be on past 9:30. So this is gonna be a quick show. And I'm gonna be out. I'll be back Tuesday. Talk about geopolitics with Mr. Putin and NATO. And I think I'm gonna come back Thursday and deal with depending on who I can get or how much information I can get on what's going on. First of all, y'all put a 1 in the chat and you can hear me. Yeah, brother, he ain't no joke, fam. He ain't no joke in DC. East Coast is getting blazed a little bit. And Thursday I'm gonna deal with Kenya, the Kenya situation. So that's the schedule for this week. Today, Tuesday, Thursday, and I'm just a little fatigued, so I'll be all right. And I got a lot of stuff coming up this week. Also, I posted on Instagram, Brother Janie's what he organized, his event he organized coming up Saturday. And then the week after that, the Saturday after that, July 6th, will be in Baltimore for the Chopping It Up. So, and hopefully I get my mic situation settled by then. The mic has been paid for. Y'all gave some clap emojis, brother. You got ripped off. In fact, the mic has even been purchased. The biggest problem is they allegedly delivered the mic without delivering the mic and then send it back and say, since you ain't want it. I'm like, hey, what do you mean? So yeah, that's something I gotta deal with. Some goofy stuff. I don't know what's going on. But hopefully I get that situated and ready for Saturday and the week after that. Also, I'll be I guess Monday, after I do what I gotta do, I can get this computer situated. I got all the parts and stuff. It just was ran out of time because of Saturday, because of when the parts arrived, and because I was having a wrestling match with my computer a little bit. It's always the stuff you don't think is going. How can I put it? It's always something that you think, okay, well, this part will be easy and this part will be easy. And then there's always a part that's like, yeah, but have you considered that if this is difficult? Which the answer for me was no. So yeah. So hopefully this week all that'll be upgraded and done. Appreciate everybody that donated via the Cashapp to those things. Also, a special shout out to Brother Straight Black Saw, who who gonna allow me to get the book of college. Like I said, thank you for that, brother. That's already been ordered. I'm just waiting for them to tell me when they got it. So that's all like the personal. It's all the personal stuff and the announcements for the upcoming 2 weeks. So if I got my mic and everything, I'll be trying to do the chopping it up again. The good part is we'll have everything situated by the convention. And bro, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get it going to get it from them. Yeah, that I don't know what that was. They're like, hey, oh no, well, I'm going to. I gotta get that too. I'm going somewhere to get that. They're delivering it locally, and then I'm going to get it. Yeah, I am, and I don't even know. I don't know what that was. Sometimes these companies they try to do something new, or these companies call themselves upgrading. I swear, every time somebody upgrades something, or they think they got a better service than what they normally do, it ends up in some shenanigans, and you just like, man, y'all could have just did what you normally do. I don't get it. So don't even get me started on that. So today, I just wanted to talk about Saturday's event, ASCM, Anti-Sexualization of Children movement, had what I would consider their grand opening. They unveiled the part of the curriculum. ASCM is a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization, and its focus is on what it says: the anti-sexualization of children, countering the conspiracy to sexualize children. And if you think I'm just making it up that there's a conspiracy to sexualize children, we'll see that someone in Congress agrees with me on that. That we'll look at that bill that hasn't gone anywhere, which is telling us something. We'll look at, as you see here on the screen, we just look at some subliminal messages in childhood movies. And we're going to go and look at an old article from before to show that, look, these people have told us stuff. Well, I'm trying to adjust my mic straight to our face, and we just disregard it. So, first, man, shout out to. Okay, well, no, maybe. First of all, how many people that are listening now are familiar with ASCM? And I know I've mentioned it, but I haven't really talked about it. So if you have, you can put a 1, and if you actually remember, you can just put a fist emoji. But I know we do have some members here. But like I said, it was this Saturday, so the sister who's in charge now, she was giving a presentation. I've known her for, I'm trying to think, I guess a good decade now. So I've seen her growth and develop. Just extremely sharp, extremely competent, extremely dedicated. I mean, just be honest, these type of black women going out of style, brothers. Just, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you ever try to buy something, they like, oh no, this model has been discontinued. Like, nah, we don't make that no more, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Or you like a model of a car, and then suddenly they change their whole lineup and they just don't make that car anymore. You like, that's the best car this company ever made. What are they doing? It's one of those things. Yeah, if you like an American car, it's a whole American car companies have gone out. So there's a whole lot of stuff that's disappeared off the face of the earth. But yeah, so went up there and she's setting up things. So I just asked her to give me a few minutes so I can do some filming, which I haven't even looked at it. I haven't even looked at the footage. And they recorded, they utilize Zoom. So Brother Jenny's talking, and really before Brother Kevin, I actually should have prepared and seen if some of that footage is of Brother Jenny speak, if that's useful, is that the word I'm looking for? Usable? Yeah, whatever. I'll put up maybe some clips of that. Also, I forgot, brother, you got ripped off. Yeah, I forgot to ask about it's kind of weird how y'all respond. The shorts, ancestral shorts. segment, how many people have checked those out and how many people liked it. I noticed a great response from Dr. Collins, like pretty good number of views, and very few views for Dr. Amos Wilson. I don't know what that's about. I don't know. Dr. Amos Wilson, one of my favorites. I don't understand what's going on with that. But and the brother talking about the heat. Let me tell you something. Man, it was baking. All right. It was baking this morning. I was doing something this morning. Like, I'm talking about like 9 o'clock. It was already 90 degrees. I'm just like, this is that's just like, I guess I ain't built like I used to be when I was young, because it's hot out here. So we get there. Sister setting up. I'm setting up. Film. Everything. People start coming in. Before they straight back for our brother Elijah. And so we get ready to get started. And we get Zoom bombed. You know, I guess that's a proper terminology for it. So we couldn't see everything. But brother, you got ripped off, told me that there was some inappropriate videos being shown by the Zoom bomber, and we did hear the audio of somebody repeating the N-word, saying they don't like N-words excessively. Now, here's what we have to understand. You have an organization that is doing a presentation on how to protect children from inappropriate content. And then someone comes and decides to attack that type of meeting with what? Inappropriate content. So to me, the person's either a homophile. No, the person's a homophile. Which end of that? Homosexual, pedophile? We don't know. I'm going to be completely honest. The times we get attacked, like anything that I have done with members of or people connected to SBPM, the times we get attacked the most is the times when we take a stand against pedophilia. Make of that what you will. But whenever we do something where we take the stand and say, need to protect our children, are the times we get attacked. And we get attacked from people we never expect to get attacked from. All right? I said this story before. I'm going to say the story again, because I don't care who don't like it, because it was the clearest example where it's like, okay, what in the world is going on? 2016, I believe. The whole story breaks about Greek bang booty. Sister said it was disgusting. Yeah, I can only imagine. It just, the more I think about it, the more it makes me want to. Anyway, I almost said something crazy, get the whole YouTube shut down. But anyway, the Greek bang booty story broke. Janie was like, "Yeah, we got to do something. Gonna take a stand on this," and some brothers up in New York, and he told us, "Hey, going to New York, this and that." So me, like about half a dozen of us went, and that whole event and everything, which I don't have video of, so I wasn't even thinking that back then. And then the next week, we were kind of weird. It was so weird. It's still weird now when I think about it. We were attacked from the rostrum Mas Mariano. Right? So, and specifically named irritated you, great black bride, and this and that. Right? Again, a week after saying we're going to protect children from being violated by weirdos. Now make of that what you will. This is just a historical documentation. This is what took place. Right? I don't even know if you can still find that thing up, but it was from Mas Mariam and it was Dr. Wesley Muhammad. These are facts. Okay, why? What their motivation was, I have absolutely no idea. Timing looks terrible for them because you know me. A lot of stuff I don't forget. Most stuff I don't forget. I'm not one of those people. I don't believe none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's why right why I have a whole lot of friends. But nonetheless, so yeah, that's always been a problem. So that we were attacked at the beginning of this event, and then later on we were able to get the event up and running, get the Zoom meeting secure, and I thought it was an excellent presentation. The work that was done, the way it was presented, the sisters' poise and professionalism in the midst of all this, in the midst of that, which could derail everything, which was a goal of Double Files. It was outstanding. Now, there were some other things that took place that I'm not at liberty to discuss, but it's neither here nor there. But now, what I see is that the reception of the people to the information and to the program is such that the value to the community, I can see that there are people who want to see value in what was presented and what ASCM has to give to not just our community, but to any people who care about their children. So, yeah, bro, you got real. Don't even get me started on. We started on them folks. Shit. And then don't get me started on everybody you mentioned, Obama, Olatunji. Don't get me started on none of them folks. That totally derailed this conversation. And I get off into doing what I say I'm not going to do. You know, keep trying to take the high road while people keep low key dissing us. That's what I hate about the internet. You know, back in the day, sidebar. You know, back in the day, like when you diss people, like some, because you had peace between conscious people. Like if you wrote a book or something or a pamphlet or something, you kind of diss people, whatever. Yeah, you could get stomped out. just saying, like that's all it used to be back in the day. People they straight back right the raw out your bike. Like you know, you can get her. You know, you got physical. No side. Now I'm not saying that's the proper way to handle things. I'm saying in those times, those things took place, and that's why I try to handle things with dignity, decency, class, and respect. Now I know those things are out of style in the Black community right now, but that's still how I choose to handle it because I know, you know, the older you get as a Black man, like the less stuff you really can tolerate. So that means you have to be even more in control, not less. You know what I'm saying? Because you just see stuff, you just like, yo, I'm not for this today, or tomorrow, or even yesterday. So, anyway, back to where I was. So seeing the people's reaction, right? I was like, okay, this is the people see value in this, and that and the reason why is because realistically, our children are constantly under attack, not just from the media, right? The TV, the phone, different apps and things like that. But I mean, just everything. Because even if your children are okay, your children are hanging around children that are, may have seen whatever. Like things were bad in the low tech era that I came from. When I really started thinking about it, I'm like, man, I can only imagine what's going on. Actually, I can't even imagine what's going on now. That's what I think about it. All right. So there's going to be great value in ASCM, and you'll be hearing more about it. I just realized I really haven't had Jeannie on a long time. he got so much stuff he got going on this week. Maybe next month I try to get the brother on and he just talk about something as we really ramp up for the convention in August. So what I wanted to do with that background set, I just wanted to take a look at these couple of articles that I found that were interesting. Because as we were getting feedback from the people, there were some young people there. And the sister say the children are catching hell from all angles. Yeah. I mean, everything. That's the goal. Just to overwhelm people, including the children, psychologically, right? So we end the presentation. The sister talked about Disney and subliminal messages. Subliminal messages. There we go. So I just wanted to read this article where they talk about it too. And this is very surface. Maybe 22 subliminal messages your childhood did try to tell you. This is a very surface level, simple breakdown, and I probably will just go through some of them, not all of them, but it just goes to show that these things exist. And like I said, these are some very basic things, and there's some things that are way more basic. I mean, way more that's the word I'm looking for. Even way more detrimental than what you see here, right? So let's see some of their examples. They see, and it was funny is I haven't seen like most of these movies. It says, wait, what? So it says, all right, so he's talking about the movie Cars. Says there's a lot of weird stuff in the Cars universe, like tramp stamps, which now you may be looking at the movie, see what in the world is going on. It says in the above picture, 2 younger female cars end up quote unquote flashing Lightning McQueen. Now let's think about that. That's something, all right, that I don't think anybody, most people wouldn't catch. Now, I would have to see the movie to see the context because I haven't seen the movie, so it's hard for me to conceptualize it. But I get the point that the person is saying. But you don't think about it that way, but your mind will process it that way, right? Because that's why it's subliminal. It goes past the conscious mind to the subconscious mind, where the subconscious mind acknowledges it takes place. So, I'm sure a lot of children have seen Cars. They've seen this scene, and they had no idea what they were looking at. And as I'm reading what this person is saying, and I'm contemplating it, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't have caught that. You know what I'm saying? More than likely, I wouldn't have caught that, depending on how engaging the movie is. Now, I've never seen Cars. If anybody's seen Cars, is it what is the what's the entertainment value of it? Like how entertaining it is. Now here, this is something else. If you don't know certain things, I wouldn't catch this. It's talking about the movie. I don't know what movie. It didn't say what movie this is. I don't know what movie this is. But anyway, in the movie it says, there are no bears in San Francisco. Then it says, I saw a really hairy guy. He looked like a bear. Now to me, I don't get it, right? So I wouldn't know what they're talking about. But he says, if you told me that in a Pixar movie, they'd make a gay bear joke, I would have laughed you out of wherever you are. And yet here we are. So apparently, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe I'm reading it wrong. Apparently, there's San Francisco, so we know what San Francisco is known for. Apparently, the bear thing is some type of undercover homosexual reference that I don't understand. And they said the joke in plain sight. I don't know what movie this is. The movie doesn't look familiar. But again, that's just like, again, this is very surface but subtle stuff that's put in it. So you're watching a Pixar movie and somebody decides to put, what you say, brother? Oh, the movie's Inside Out. Didn't they just make a sequel to that? Like, in the sequel to that out now? Okay, so the movie Inside Out, they have homosexual references while you're trying to watch the movie with your children. And this is according to this person's page, because I haven't seen the movie. Then, of course, there is the XCX spelled out in The Lion King, which you've seen The Lion King and you've seen people talk about subliminals, like everybody's seen that. Now he's saying that they said that it's not saying SEX. They're saying it's SFX. Okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, if you say so, right? Now, this one says, this again, the movie Cars. I guess I'm gonna have to watch the movie Cars because apparently all types of stuff going on. Yeah. It says the waitresses at this restaurant are convertible. What don't convertibles have? Topless. They're topless waitresses. It says all convertible waitresses. Again, right in front of your face. But how many people would think about it? But it's right there. So it just shows that with this many examples, and these are relatively recent movies, this ain't like that classic stuff like Bambi and all that stuff. They're showing different subliminal instances of subliminal messaging put in these movies. Again, this is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Now, I saw this when I was, I don't know. I don't know. That movie came out so long ago. I don't know how old I was. However old I was. But it's a scene, and I actually saw in another video the scene where he says the animators, they kept her private parts in a scene where she falls out of a car. Again, that means I saw that at age, I don't know, 12 or whatever. I don't know how old I was. And didn't know I saw it, but I saw the clip where the scene he described, and I'm like, that means I saw it at 12 and didn't know it. Why is that necessary to draw for a kid's movie? And Brother Elijah said, I saw Cars when it first came out and I was a kid, and I never realized these references until now. See, I never saw the movie. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, but so that's why, again, that's why it's subliminal messaging. You know what I'm saying? So again, I never saw the movie, but the messages are there because some of the stuff that I am familiar with, and I'm like, yeah, I know about that. So again, he said 22. And I don't know. Okay, I don't know what this is supposed to be because the video that comes with it is blocked out. So I'm not sure what's really going on with that. So I haven't seen The Little Mermaid, so I don't know what's going on. But again, let's see. This one is, I forgot the name of this movie. This is an old movie. Let's see, what movie is this? But anyway, we saw this. There is The Rescuers. There's a scene where they're trying to fly or escape or something, and in the window as they go by is a woman undressing. Now, why? Yeah, this is a children's movie. Like this, you look at this movie, this looks like classic Disney children's movie, like that's been around, like when I was a kid. they would roll out the VCR. You see what I'm saying? Before they the real black gentleman, like one of those that I grew up with. And you got why do you have a woman why are you drawing a woman undressing in the rescuers? Like, for what? You see what I'm saying? So that just goes to show, you can say, oh, it's not in the first, it's not this or that. Yes it is, because there's no reason for it. Someone had to draw with their hand and say, I'm gonna put this in here because why not? Right? They got and that's Pinocchio. And they got smoke in here. In Pinocchio, I don't know how old that is. There may have been a time before before they started putting that's before they put the warning on cigarettes. So that just shows right there. What else we got? Let's see. I've never seen. I just realized how much Disney stuff I haven't seen. Never seen Aladdin. It says, ever wonder why a good-looking guy like Aladdin was chased out of a house full of gorgeous women in the first movie? Well, because he was poor and he was in a brothel. Again, why? Why? A children movie like Aladdin, and you got a scene in a brothel. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say, to be honest. It's like, it just anyway. What? Oh wow, this is crazy. Oh, this is crazy. This doesn't make sense. The Emperor's New Groove is an underrated classic. Plus, it's also filled with some really hilarious and cheeky jokes. But it's not a funny joke. For example, you ever notice where Esma's henchman Kronk has pitched his tent? I don't know nothing about who Ezra and nobody else is, but again, why? Why put something like that in? Let's see, what are you talking about? 101 Dalmatians. I don't know. I don't get that one. But anyway, I think I am. Am I finished? Yeah, I'm finished with this. But it's not a perfect example, but this is a basic example of the type of stuff. Yeah, see, you got ripped off. He got a big family, so he probably seen every one of these movies. But this is an example of the type of stuff that, like, some things our children are bombarded with. We can see it and we know it's bad. Okay, like, for example, Sexy Red, Lil Nas X. You know what I'm saying? We know those people. Like, as soon as we see them, we're like, oh no, this, nope. These people, no. You need to get these people out there. And we know, and because we talked about it. We talked about it on here. Lil Nas X was marketed to children. He was performing in elementary school. Straight Black brother Jaraka, haven't seen you in the chat in a while. Hope you doing well, brother. So we know that the assault on our children is taking place. Right? But it's another article I want to get into. Like I said, I'm not going to be long. Try to do Dr. Collins. Not going to be long, but trying to be strong. Because I want to, well, no, hold on. Let's look at this congressional bill real quick. It says HR 9197, Stop the Sexualization of Children Act. Representative Mike Johnson from, I believe that's the 4th District of Louisiana. Let's see. Says that a House Oversight and Reform, Education and Labor Committee, shown here, introduced in the House 10/18/2022. So this has been almost 2 years. Says the bill prohibits the presentation of sexually oriented materials to children under the age of 10. The bill defines sexually oriented material as 1. Any depiction or description of sexual activity. 2. Lewd or lascivious depiction or description of human genitalia. 3. Topics involving gender identity, gender dysphoria, transgenderism, sexual orientation, and or related topics. Specifically, the bill prohibits 1. The use of federal funds to develop, implement, facilitate, or fund any sexual-oriented program, event, or literature for children under the age of 10. 2. The use of federal facilities or properties to host or promote such programs, events, or literature. The bill grants a parent or guardian a private right of action against a government official, government agency, or private entity that violates this bill. Additionally, the bill prohibits federal agencies from dispersing federal funds to a government agency or private entity for 3 fiscal years if the agency or entity has received 2 or more injunctions for violations of the said bill in a 5-year period. Now, that bill, that as we see what it's for. To prohibit, now think about it, this is the age of 10, to prohibit sexual oriented material, and it gives us a description under the age of 10, and to prohibit federal funds for such and federal usage of federal facilities for such. Went nowhere fast, right? Think about that. Someone in Congress said, hey, you know what? There's just too much wild stuff going on. Our children seeing stuff that's wild. We need to do something about it. So let's stop this. And everybody else just looked at him like, are you crazy? Man, if you don't get that out of here, protect children. There's no money in that, cuz. I mean, that's basically what they said. And yeah, it's gone nowhere. So, I mean, salute to Mike Johnson, who I'm sure I wouldn't agree with on most anything. I'm pretty sure that dude is like, not type of person that I would agree with on stuff, but I agree with him on this, and apparently no one else in Congress did, because that went nowhere, So it is what it is, and that's the type of stuff that he is a Republican. That's the type of stuff that is why I don't get caught up in the Republican, Democrat, so forth, so on, because there is no party that represents the interests of Black people. And at this point, there may not be anything in America that represents the interests of straight Black and proud people. And there may not be anything that in the interest of straight people, period, at this point. It don't matter, regardless of nationality. Everything is seemingly pro-LGBT to the detriment of the rights of straight people. Like it's gotten out of hand, in my humble opinion. You can get mad, but it is what it is. Brother You Got Ripped Off says it's basically died as soon as it hit the floor. Right, the floor of Congress. And how many hospitals alone would be hurt by this bill? Well, if hospitals are making money for what they call it, gender reassignment, all those hospitals, they would be hurt by it. So I guess they're like, nah, because there's money in it. It's just being completely honest. So that just goes to show that at least somebody in Congress thinks that this is an issue that needs to be addressed, but nobody else in Congress did. So what I want to do real quick is just go back through an article that we dealt with before, and I just want to make a point, right? This idea that homophiles don't target children or aren't have the children that don't have a focus on children is just false. So I'm not going to go over the 1972 platform again, although maybe I should. In fact, I need to go back and see which program I did that on and chop up some pieces of that and put that back up. But we're going to go back through this article. Okay. Boston Review. When gays wanted to liberate children, 70s activists wanted to emancipate kids and destroy the nuclear family. So how did we end up with gay marriage instead? Now, come on, man. What are we doing? Now, let's think about this. The article says homosexuals, or as it says here, gays, want to. Oh, I didn't realize y'all can't see the article if I'm in the what's name. My bad. Here we go. Can't read along like that. Says that there was a time when gays wanted to, he said, destroy the nuclear family. Well, coincidentally, aren't we at a point where the nuclear family in America has basically been destroyed? I mean, in the black community, it's basically been destroyed. And our families extend beyond the nuclear family. The nuclear family is just the core of what we consider family. Right? So, by his, again, this is the author, I didn't say this. By his definition, what was desired by the homosexual community in the early 70s has taken place. Now, since we don't believe in what my mother used to call the power of osmosis, that means if homosexuals wanted the destruction of the nuclear family, and we've gone a long way in that direction, then we have to say that the people in charge of the society are in alignment with the homosexuals from that era. So we must come to the conclusion that there are at least some homosexuals amongst the people who are ruling and guiding this society. Right? We have to come, you know what I'm saying? It's not just some weird coincidence. It's just been a process that's taken place over 50 years, because this is when they said it publicly, which means somebody's working on it before that. And here we are. All right? Again, this is the 70s. And get ready to get into the article. Brother, real black gentleman said, BLM wants the nuclear family destroyed on their own website. Right. So that just goes to show that they're coming out this same thought process that's been around for at least 50 years publicly. So let's just look at a little of the article. My bad. And this article, again, I've shown, I broke this down before, but we're gonna go into it again. This is June 8th, 2018. In 1972, members of Boston's Gay Men's Liberation, one of the most significant gay liberation groups formed after the 1969 Stonewall riots, drove to Miami to hand out a 10-point list of demands, the Democratic National Convention. Emerging from a crucible of new, quote-unquote, queer political consciousness, feminism, and rage, the manifesto, reproduced at the bottom of the article, articulated a utopian political vision that was broad, today we would say intersectional, extending far beyond what we would now conceptualize as LGBT politics. Its first demand, for example, was an end to any discrimination based on biology, Stop. What does that even mean? It's some biology. Okay. It says neither skin color, age, nor gender should be recorded by any government agency. Biology should never be the basis for any special legal handicap or privilege. Now let's stop right here. Let's think about this, right? This is 1972. Now, that sounds good in theory, right? That's that intersectionality. But what's the fundamental problem? If you stop the government from recording people based upon their race, right? Because it says skin color. So we're talking about race. Then when black people try to come up and say, we want reparations for the discrimination and the destruction that was heaped upon us from before this country was even founded officially, legally, right? Before it was a legal entity. Okay, but we'll just take the reparations from the point the country was a legal entity. And also, not just for the enslavement, but also for Jim Crow and everything else, the crack epidemic, okay? Because we know the government was involved in that, right? Everything. All right, cool. If you eliminate the records of who's black, then the mere basis of reparation goes out the window, because you're like, well, we don't know who black and who ain't. That's the game they're gonna play. So, by the homosexuals' ideology, they're against reparations due to their intersectional ideology, which was given to them by a Negro feminist. You see how that works? Who was connected to a small hat. So a Negro feminist connected to the small hat inadvertently had given, or advertently, I don't, whatever, had given, because she was in a relationship with Pat, the means of destroying reparations movement before people who were talking about reparations now were even born. You see how that works? So when people say, hey brother, why y'all so hard against homophilia? Because the nature of homophilia is against African liberation, right? It's just the nature, because you can't serve two masters. So again, like the brother said, Black Lives Matter. That's one of the things we pointed that out years ago. Like when they first became a thing, we went to their website and like, hey, wait a minute, what is this? So by the definition, they were Black Lives Matter, and we all know this, but we're just gonna say it again. We're using the deaths of black men to push an agenda that excluded the right for black men to marry black women and have black children and sustain black families, which is the foundational aspect of nation building. So by the very nature, people who are homophiles are anti-nation building by the nature of the behavior that they practice and the nature of the ideology that they espouse based on the behavior that they practice. Right? Now, if many of gay men's liberation demands remain controversial for, well, now 50 years later, most are still legible in today's political discourse. The group also sought to end U.S. imperialism, prevent discrimination based on sexual identity, and abolish the police. Now, hold up. Bruh. Does this stuff sound familiar? Let's abolish the police. Didn't we just hear that? What, 4 years ago when Biden was in, when in 2020, when the brother was killed in Minnesota. Was that Minnesota? Milwaukee? Y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't think of his name right now. I'm drawing a blank. So think about it. All of this stuff that we thought was new stuff, this ideology, this philosophy was being touted and pushed basically before almost everybody that's on here was born, right? What was it, 1972? Now, says, let's look at this part. This quote says, gay liberation repudiated child paternalism, the idea that children need the protection of adults and in exchange are eligible for fewer basic rights. Let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. George Floyd, thank you, Sis Finance. Let's stop right there. I'm gonna read that again. You know, if I was given I have to put this in a presentation. It says, let's read it again. Gay liberation repudiated the idea that children are in need the protection of adults. Only a predator would come up with an idea that children don't need protection, right? That's like a bear repudiating the idea that salmon, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, salmon do not need protection while they swimming up this stream. I mean, you know, that's a ridiculous idea that salmon would need protection. Like, what's gonna happen? You know, gonna be eaten by a bear or something? That's crazy talk. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we saw a bear saying that, we were like, but Mr. Bear, don't you eat salmon? Yeah, but that's beside the point. Right? I mean, this is, man, history be right in our face. We don't even. Anyway, I digress. Now, it says if many of the gay liberations band, oh no, my bad. It says, Demand 6, however, is likely to strike even many of today's activists as irresponsible, bizarre, and dangerous. Right? It says rearing children should be the common responsibility of the whole community. So if you stop right there, people will be like, all right, cool. Right? It's good. It's part of African culture that the responsibility of protecting children is the responsibility of the community. But notice it doesn't say that. It says rearing children. Right? But there's the next thing it says. Any legal rights parents have over their children should be dissolved, and each child should be free to choose its own destiny. Free 24-hour childcare centers should be established where faggots and lesbians can share the responsibility of child rearing. Now, look, I didn't use, that's the words that's on the page. I didn't say that. I'm reading what's on the page. This is what homosexuals were saying. This is the language they were using. Right? In 1972. This is what they wrote. I didn't write it. I know YouTube probably see and be like, let's give it a strike. But hey, this I'm reading. This is historical documentation. I'm reading the historical documentation. So, I forgot that was in there, but it's in there. Now, let's think about this. Let's think about this. According to this ideology, the legal rights of parents should be dissolved, and each child should be free to choose their own destiny. Now, can we be honest here? Who except, thank you, brother. Please remind me to do that now. Who except a predator wants children just be roaming around and dissolve the rights of parents to their children that they produce, the children that came out of their loins, to use an old biblical terminology, right? They got together, two people got together and engaged in the activity that produces the miracle of life, right? It's the highest level of creation that we can do as a human being, right? It's a divine process, high science, as the 5% would say. And they say, well, none of that matters. And man, that stuff being natural and stuff, they don't care about that. The children should be allowed to listen. But the thing about it, are we not seeing this enacted right now with the laws and the children, quote unquote, choosing to change their gender and all this stuff, and the parents not having the rights to stop them and all that? Is that not an outgrowth of this ideology? So are we seeing this take place right now? So as we look back 50 years, we see now why an ASCM is necessary, but opposed, obviously, like just got revealed, just got, what I'm saying, and being opposed and attacked already. Why? With straight black pride, soon all we had was a logo, right? Soon we released the logo, people just come out the woodwork attacking straight black pride. I'm like, what? What's going on? What happened? What? Did I miss something? Did y'all do something? Y'all say something while I went around? What happened? Because we see the assault on children from this ideology that children don't belong to their parents was in effect, as it appears now. The idea was in there when I came on the planet, and when all of y'all came on the planet. Right? So we've been fighting a war. We've been under assault when we were looking at other things. Because you ask people, you ask my mother and grandmother's generation, people, again, they were fighting for the rights to be, as Malcolm X would say, respected as a human being, be given the rights of a human being. Meanwhile, somebody's out here fighting for the rights to take your children and have them raised by quote unquote gays and what did they say? Whatever they said. Homos and might as well say homos and pedos as far as I'm concerned. If we're being completely honest. What's that old movie? What's that old movie with Lou Gossett Jr.? What do you say? Steers and queers. You know what I'm saying? So I thought the queer thing, I thought that was like some type of slur, but apparently that's like accepted language. Again, I don't know. I thought it was like a bad word, but apparently there's like queer theory and there's a whole thing. So whatever. So steers and queers wanted to take people's children in 1972. And then outgrowth of that we've seen. So let's get some more into it. He says collective child rearing? Huh? Right. Legally emancipated children? Question mark? Queers helping to raise other people's children and by extension serving as role models and moral examples? You know what I'm saying? Isn't this exactly what conservatives fear when they warn of the red flag of liberal, quote unquote, social engineering, a queer version of Soviet indoctrination daycares? I mean, but that's what we have. They just moved into the school. So it's not like the conservatives are like, hey, gotta watch out for this stuff because it is crazy. If some conservatives back then said that, they lost. This stuff is in effect. So they were right as far as what they said, but they lost the battle up to this point because it's here. But it's always good to look back. So when people say, oh man, you guys are we're not nothing. I mean, this is it right here. It's been the plan all along. Now the plan has been implemented in a more sophisticated way where it's right in front of your face, but you still can't see it. Or it's right in front of your face, but you don't think you can do anything about it. But when it comes to your children, you just do what you have to do, regardless of consequences. right? So let's get back to the article. It says, wait a minute, hold on. Let me see. It says, or is it a utopia that will finally liberate women from the burdens of reproduction, while also creating a social structure in which children could safely function as independent beings who are not frightened or shamed out of what? Exploring their sexuality. Bruh. We get to the crux of the issue. Right there. Let us, again, I talked to psychologist, and she said, this is ridiculous. Not specifically this article, but the concepts of children's sexuality. Like, let's just be honest. There shouldn't be any adults who are focused on the sexuality of children. I don't know if that's like a controversial statement or anything in this day and time, but I'm gonna say it again. There should not be any adults who are interested in the sexuality of children. You shouldn't even be like, that shouldn't even be crossing your mind. Right? If so, you have a mental disorder. And I'm being nice. Something wrong with you. Right? So now they say, all right, I'm gonna read this quote in here. It says, radical feminists argue that men had invented the idea of childhood innocence to bolster the oppression of women, which was also the function of the nuclear family. Let's stop right here. Do we see why? Do we see why feminism is so dangerous? You see why I did a whole lecture on feminism. Brother, you got to please remind me to take parts of this article and some type of way incorporate them into, because I need to upgrade Goddess Black Woman lecture. Now, I know it was something else I was supposed to put in there. I'm gonna have to listen to one of these old shows and figure it out, but it was something else I was supposed to put in there, and I forgot. I need to redo that lecture. I need to revamp it and do it. But then, just look at this. Radical feminists argue that men invented the idea of childhood innocence. So the feminists are in bed with the pedos, because the pedos will be right behind them saying, yep, that's right. You're right. No such thing as childhood innocence. This is really... When I tell y'all, looking at this, it got me so discombobulated. I'm back quoting 5% lessons. The devil's 100% weak and wicked. We're not keeping the beta laws of Maya. Truth, justice, righteousness, reciprocity. Anyway, since at least the 18th century, there has been robust debate about the nature of childhood. While questions of whether or not children are innately good, suitable for the open labor market, or in need of standardized education have elicited polarized opinions over the centuries, most reformers have assumed, to varying degrees, a starting point of child paternalism, the idea that children need the protection of adults and in exchange are eligible for fewer basic rights. Again, that's something debated by Europeans. There were no black people anywhere in the last 10,000 years before the current situation of madness taking over our mind, where we were debating this type of ridiculous nonsense. So let us move on. I see the time getting away from me already. It says the children's liberation movement of the late 1960s was a dramatic break from all of this. no matter how progressive many prior reforms may have been, because it repudiated child paternalism. Set against a backdrop of a cultural moment when adults, from hippies and radical feminists to civil rights to early gay rights, were seeking greater personal freedoms, it was perhaps only a matter of time before young people identified themselves as or were identified as an oppressed minority deserving of legal equality and, in effect, manumission. Stop right there. Remember when we talked about the hat would link up various things that were not related to our rights in order to get other things passed and accepted by society? This is a perfect example. This is a perfect example. He just threw in, the author of this article just threw in, hold on. He just threw in, look at all the people he threw in here. As if all of them were advocating the same ideology. He said, hippies, radical feminists, gay rights people, and civil rights. Now he's saying civil rights people were seeking greater personal freedoms. No. Now maybe civil rights people, but black people were not seeking personal freedoms. Black people were fighting to keep from being destroyed. Right? Malcolm X said, be given the rights of a human being. The rights are not freedoms. The rights of a human being, the first step in the right of a human being is the right to exist, which is the right that was taken away from us most. Which still, we still fight for that. Black people still being shot down by the police for no reason whatsoever. Black people still being lynched and they claiming it's suicide. Right? So the fight for black people to exist is completely different than anybody else's fight. I just had to get that off because every time I see that, anyway. Now, even recalling what we know about the radical nature of the 1960s, it can be difficult to appreciate that child liberation was not a fringe idea. Well, obviously, based on the history. Anyway, Paul Goodman's best-selling 1960 book, Growing Up Absurd: Problems of Youth in the Organized System, proposed that children were among the first casualties of capitalism run amok. While A.S. Neal's Progressive Education Treatise of the same year, Summerhill, A Radical Approach to Child Rearing, proposed not only that children could function as democratic actors and make sensible social and sexual choices. Now, who in the world would sit around and write a book and make this argument about children having those choices in intimacy except the pedophile? Right? Again, this is not me. I didn't write this article. But as I have stolen from another brother, documentation beats conversation. I'm not making this stuff up. And he said this book was written in 1960. So when Malcolm X was still here, 5 years, what was that? 5 years after the bus boycott, 1955? When they were blowing up churches and bombing stuff and shooting people down like dogs, we trying to fight for basic stuff, the right to live. And they writing these type of treaties about children's quote unquote sexual rights. Like what do you even like? This is a pedophile discussion. Like, how did nobody just be like, hey, yo, what are you talking about? Anyway, while it appeared in English in 1962, medievalist Philippe Aliès Okay, French dude. Centuries of Childhood, a social history of family life, caused a similar sensation, tracing a detailed history of childhood in the West to demonstrate that the modern notion of childhood, of a child who must be sheltered from the world, was a social construct of only recent vintage, as was the nuclear family. For much of history, Ariès showed all except the youngest children had functioned in the world much as adults do. Now let's start right here. What he's really saying is pedophilia is endemic to European culture. That's what he's really saying. He said, I did the research, pedophilia has been endemic to European culture, and you guys don't recognize it. That's his treatise. That's not me saying it. I'm interpreting his treatise based upon him saying that children function just like adults, except for the youngest children. Again, let's move forward. Summerhill sold over 2 million books in Summerhill sold over 2 million books. 2 million copies of this book between 1960 and 1970. And Goodman's Growing Up Absurd sold over 100,000 copies in the first few years of publication. Now, mind you, the population of America was smaller, so these books were seen by a higher percentage of the populace. The political language of liberation quickly replaced theory and conjecture. During the 1970s, at least 15 mass market books promoted ideas of children's rights and children's liberation, including David Gottlieb's Children's Liberation in 1973, Beatrice and Ronald Gross's The Children's Rights Movement Overturning the Oppression of Young People in 1977. These ideas took an even more radical turn when they were combined with the newly emerging discourse of women's liberation. Shulamith Firestone, that's a name for you. For example, in her groundbreaking The Dialectic of Sex, 1970, argued that physical reproduction itself was the core of women's oppression and called for new technologies to replace childbirth. In addition, she contended that children were an oppressed class who suffered under the regime of patriarchal family. In her chapter, Down with Childhood, Firestone argues that the very creation of the category childhood and the idea of childhood innocence were adult male constructs invented to bolster the oppression of women, which was also the function of the nuclear family. Kate Millett went further in her 1984 essay, Beyond Politics, Children and Sexuality, contending that the oppression of children is explicitly rooted in denying them sexual. What in the... This broad said that oppression of children is rooted in denying them sexual knowledge. Quote unquote, sex itself is presented as a crime to children. It's how adults control children, how they forbid them sexual. This broad's a pedophile, man. Bruh, am I tripping? Is this stuff crazy? And this has just been in the lower reaches of these feminist ideologies and these LGBT ideologies, and nobody's talking about it. But we're seeing it implemented, and we don't know what's going on, not realizing that people have been talking about this stuff since 1960. Like, there are countries in Africa fighting colonialism, fighting to get free, and these people are writing basically pro-pedo books. Oh man, don't even get me started on Audre Lorde, man. Audre Lorde with all that intersectional mumbo jumbo. All right, I see. I only got 10 minutes now. Says, where were we? Gay liberationists were inspired by women's liberation, and many wished in their activism to engage the topics of childhood and pedagogy. However, they faced the risk of being labeled as what? Pedophiles simply for expressing theoretical interest in children. Hey, bruh, let me stop you right there. Again, the only people interested in the sexuality of children are pedophiles. It's very simple. You know what I mean? Let's be clear. Let's right, since they love these labels, let's show how this works. Straight men are interested in straight women. Straight women are interested in straight men. Homosexual men are interested in homosexual men. And homosexual women are interested in homosexual women. And the people who are interested in the sexualities of children are people that we call pedophiles. Just because they haven't enacted their thought doesn't mean that's not their interest and intention. Right? Bruh. Anyway. Some gay writers took a stand by simply admitting what most gay people knew and most heterosexuals tried to deny. There were gay kids. Stop right there. This is where the argument, this is the core of the argument that they want to make. Because in order for again, let's think about this. In order for children who have an interest in this type of behavior, they have to have been introduced to it by someone. And the someone that introduces them to it is the pedophile. But if you say no, it's naturally occurring, then you remove the fact that the pedophile is at the core of the behavior you're seeing from the children. Right? Sister Neff says, let me know if you want that on the screen, because I put it on the screen. If not, I won't. I just read it. So just, you want that read, just let me know. So I don't even matter. Let me see what this says. What? It says a note. It says this is Carl Whitman. Wait a minute, hold on. Okay, wait a minute, hold on. In his foundational The Gay Manifesto, published a month before the Stonewall riots, Carl Whitman wrote a note on the exploitation of children. Kids can take care of themselves, according to Carl Whitman, and are sexual beings way earlier than we like to admit. Those of us who began cruising in early adolescence know this, and we were doing the cruising, not being debauched by old men, dirty old men. Bruh. My bad. I don't know who Carl Whitman is, but he's a pedophile. He's probably dead, but cool. I'm glad. Bruh. I got 6 minutes. I didn't know this article would irritate me as much, because y'all tell me, am I tripping? We went over this article, right? Brother, you got ripped off. I went over this article before, or did I just like show the article and I didn't go into it? Because the more I read of the article, the more it makes me want to, throw my computer out the window. But I can't afford to do that because I just bought parts for it to upgrade. But I'm just reading this, I'm like, this is insanity. And people trying to like intellectualize and justify it. Hold on, let me put up the sister said. He says, they're this desperate to go so far as to intellectualize to target children to be exploited. This shows how much they are ceasing at nothing to accomplish their goals. Thank God for asking. Right? This is sheer insanity. Your brother said he don't remember this article. Well, I guess then, if you don't remember it, then I remember. I guess the ancestors like, well, you know what? Bring this back because nobody will remember. Now I just want to read this real quick. Because I saw this part and I'm just like, bro, this is crazy. It says queer adults have been raising other people's turned out queer children for years, but they did not want their families to be seen as second rate any longer. Stop right there. Turned out queer children. First of all, if you're turned out, that is a term meaning that someone has engaged you in activity. We'll say adult activity. And it says children. So they're saying we were taking care of people's children who were violated and identified with the violation, and we gave it as an identity of quote unquote homosexuality, and we began raising them. Okay? Look, I don't even know what else we got to say. They're admitting what we say and what we talk about. I don't know. I might have to get back. We might have to get deeper into this article. This is a topic we're gonna have to broach again. This article is so much in this society that we see that this article is talking about that I didn't even realize it. We might have to go back and rehash the gay rights platform and this article and this concept of liberation children, and we're gonna have to get back into this. I stumbled upon something that apparently I didn't delve deep into because nobody seems to remember, but I know I did talk about it before. But I mean, this just reading this bit. Anyway, so let me let y'all know. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1, Twitter at dcradical_one. OTW2 is Black-owned free speech platform, DC Radical 1. If you'd like to donate via Cashapp, $ DC Radical 1. And you can email me at dc.radical_1 at protonmail.com. We're going to go over this again. I'm going to make sure that I go over this and put it, because I'm not currently on Instagram. I'm going to make sure I have this going on all of my all of my sites, because more people need to see this and see that what we're seeing is not new. So probably next week, probably next week, we're gonna get deeper into this and into this concept, and we're gonna look at I'm gonna get some other articles or some other information and fill this out, and this will be a 2-hour show. Because again, I said I was gonna go an hour and a half. I had no idea how far down the rabbit hole this one article would take us. So, first of all, I want to thank everybody. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please share this one, because again, we went down the rabbit hole. A lot of people need to see this because they don't know what's going on. I thank everybody for supporting ASCM, all the members and everybody that was on they were there for the live stream. As we see now, it's more needed than ever, and it was needed before it even existed. And like I said, I'll be back Tuesday evening, and hopefully I have my upgrades in my computer so I can do the things I want to do. And I will be working on some more ancestral shorts, since y'all seem to like the ones that don't include Barbara Amos Wilson. So with that, brothers and sisters, I thank you all for listening. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Try to get some of your friends to subscribe so we can go ahead and get over 900. And we're gonna. This is a subject that we're gonna have to get back into deep again. I didn't even, and I forgot. I forgot that this, y'all forgot that I did this. I forgot that the article was this deep, and there's no way I can just cover this in this 90 minutes. So we're gonna come back and address this next week. So with that, brothers and sisters, I thank you all for your support and for following the program. With that, I say a BB4ODA and straight Black. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DCRadical1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A BB for ODA and straight black pride.